it's Zero here, bringing you some Titanfall gameplay today. This game's been out for a few days now. I think it's been out for about a week. I've been able to sit down and put a good amount of time into it, and I'm here to bring you my thoughts and my first impressions of the game. First of all, I have to say, I think it's actually a really good game. I know there was a lot of hype around it, and I was kind of worried because there's been a few games over the last few years that have had a lot of hype behind them, and everyone was looking forward to just incredibly. And then on the days that they got released, they were basically unplayable. And that was thankfully not the case with Titanfall. It's been doing pretty well ever since the first day it was released. I mean, there are a few issues, which I'll get into later, but overall, I have to say, I'm really impressed. It seems not often that a game is released to market that it's actually fully playable, and it seems like it's been polished a little bit before they release it, so it has that going for it. I mean, that is just a big thing. It's kind of sad that I find that such a selling point, but in this day and age, unfortunately, it has become that. So first off, I'm going to go into the pros of things and go into what I like about the game. Overall, I think it's a good game. I think it was a good idea, good concept, and I think they executed that pretty well. I mean, there haven't been a lot of games out there that bring you the full first-person shooter aspect, but then also let you pilot gigantic mechs and do it fairly seamlessly, so they've done a really good job on that. I have to turn the volume down there in the background. You can hear me talking. I recorded this for my live stream commentary. But yeah, I think it's a well-executed concept. The thing I like the most is it doesn't have a different control scheme than a lot of games. It doesn't force you to relearn controls. If you're coming from Call of Duty, it's pretty much the exact same controls. I mean, you're gonna just jump in and know exactly what to do, not be hitting the wrong buttons all the time. Even the grenade button's the same. Of course, your left button, you don't have tactical grenades. That does something else, but just having that familiarity and being able to just jump right in and be effective at the game without having to learn controls is a big bonus for me. And the controls don't feel sluggish at all. That was one of the things that I was afraid of. It was going to feel like Gears of War control or something like that because, the piloting the mechs and everything. I was afraid it was going to have that sluggish, slow control that just kind of felt like you were trying to control things underwater. And everything that I've played so far, it's just been pretty responsive and it's felt really good, and I can't really complain about that. And that's one of the most important things for me when I'm playing a game, is just that it's not a chore to control. I mean, I play games to sit here and have fun and relax, and if I'm not enjoying it because it's just such a pain to control, then it's kind of defeating the whole purpose of the game. So the fact that they got that right, I mean, that's just a big bonus, or not even a bonus, that's just a big plus in my book. If they didn't get that right, I wouldn't have spent as much time just this weekend as I have playing this game. I already probably would have quit and been not happy about wasting my money, so that's a big positive in my book. One of the other things I'm happy about is just how easy it is to get into matches. There's been a lot of games released recently in the last few years that you get on opening day or opening week and you just can't play because the matchmaking is completely broke. And I really haven't had any problem with matchmaking to speak of getting into games here. I have a few problems with matchmaking in that in multiplayers it gives me really bad connection a lot of times if I'm playing the campaign mode or just other things like that. I'll get stuck in lobbies where I have a 1-bar connection, and unfortunately in this game, kind of like Call of Duty, connection does matter in some of the face-to-face encounters, and some of them it matters a lot, so if you get stuck with a 1-bar, it's not too good. But overall, I mean, at least it works. I think that's one of the upsides of having a beta for a game before it's released. It lets them stress test all these things, it lets them iron all the problems out, so when it is release day, they don't get confronted with all these problems. I wish all companies would do beta releases before release day, just so they can get things ironed out and going as smoothly as this has. So, gotta give them props for that. That was a good idea, and they did it well. So, that brings me down onto the things that I'm not too thrilled about, which I'm pretty confident they'll probably take care of and address quite a few of these, because they were proactive enough to do a beta, try to iron out problems before they released the game, so It seems like they're going to be a company that actually takes care of their customers instead of just being like, oh, well, too bad. I think we all know what game companies I'm referring to when I talk about that. They seem to be notorious for just leaving the glaring problems in their games and adding new features on instead of addressing the stuff that are causing it to be unplayable. But hopefully this game won't be like that because, like I said, it does seem like they're paying attention, and just the fact that they had a beta shows that they care a little bit. First thing I already kind of addressed was the matchmaking. A lot of times when you get into a match, it'll stick you in with like a 1-bar connection, and it's not always your fault if you're playing with a group of people that are across the country or something. That's bound to happen, but the campaign, I keep wanting to call it single player, but it's the campaign mode. The campaign mode is also multiplayer, and yesterday I was trying to finish off a bunch of that, and it kept sticking me on 1-bar connections, and I was just having a horrible time because connection is important in this game when you get in a head-to-head firefight. I'd die and just be dead and not even know I was getting shot at until I was at the respawn screen wondering what had happened. So hopefully they'll address that a little bit. I would like to see them address something a little bit more on the matchmaking, as well as not putting you in games with high-level people. I know I was in a game yesterday with some of my friends. We had all been pretty high level. I was in like my level 20s. I was by far the lowest level person on my team, and it paired us up against a bunch of people that had just started. We're all level 1 brand new players, and that just was not fair at all. It was fun for us, but it's not fun when it happens to you. So hopefully they do something to address that. But even then, I mean, that didn't stay fun too long because it has a very bad problem with connections when you're in a party. We actually were never able to finish a game yesterday in our party because every game we'd get in, we would just drop connection, or a few of us would end up losing connection to the host and sitting at the menu screen until we were able to get picked back up after the game ended. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Some people say they've had no problems playing in parties. Other people say they've never been able to play in a party successfully, and unfortunately I'm one of those people. I've never been able to successfully play in a party. When I play solo, everything goes pretty much just fine, but as soon as I get in a party, I can get like half a game and then I get disconnected, or it's really laggy for a few minutes and then I get disconnected, but I've never finished a game in a party. I don't know what's going on with that. So probably my biggest complaint about the game is it requires you to play single player to unlock some, or not single player, I keep saying single player, and I wish it was single player, but the campaign is also multiplayer, so that means you gotta rely on your teammates to help you out and win these matches and achieve your goals, which this is a campaign mode that you're watching me play right here. And it's kind of I don't know the story of campaign mode because it's all playing out in this little screen up there with all these conversations while you're trying to play the game, so you're not paying attention to it. I have no idea what the campaign mode story is about, even though I played through it twice. So, I mean, it's not well thought out. It's not very well done, and you have to play it to unlock a couple of the Titans, and like I said, it's multiplayer too, so you're dependent on a bunch of new people to know what they're doing. I mean, as you can see here, in this game, I'm just tearing things up completely and going on rampages and capping flags and capping points. I guess they're not flags. And our team is still going to lose this game just because it's a whole bunch of new people that don't really know what's going on. And I think that's a downfall. I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter in the campaign if you lose or not. It still progresses just the same. You still get the completion. You still get the unlocks. But there are achievements for winning every match too. And I'd like to do that, but I've just found it impossible to do. I will say that I haven't ran into that problem as much in multiplayer mode as I do in a lot of games. Once you get into multiplayer mode, people seem to take all the objectives a lot more seriously, and the multiplayer mode is a whole lot of fun. I mean, I started out with that. I didn't realize I had to play the campaign, and I jumped straight into multiplayer, and even as a low level, I was actually able to be somewhat competitive and get a lot of things done just by paying attention to objectives, and I was surprised to find that when I was playing the objectives, I wasn't the only one on my team doing it. And it pretty much stayed that way throughout the entire time that I was playing. I never was really alone in trying to do objective-based games. So I think the player base is actually a good player base. I know a lot of people were tired of Call of Duty and we're going to switch over to this, so maybe it was the people that were tired of people not playing the objective in Call of Duty that switched over to this, and it's all the objective players. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it's pretty fun. And this is another thing I like about the game too. Even after the match is lost, you have a chance to evacuate, or if you've won the match, you have a chance to try to stop the enemy team from evacuating. Which usually it's really hard to do, and you have to try to get to an evacuation ship. So as you can see, I'm just here trying to blow up an enemy Titan, which I'm still really not good at. But I think I got something there. Hey, I did. Yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty good game. I would definitely recommend getting it if you're on the fence about it. I've had a lot of fun doing it over the last couple days, and everyone I know has had a lot of fun. Like any game, it does have its flaws, but I really think the upsides to it kind of outshine those. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't be afraid to give a thumbs up, and I'll see you later.